Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Week in Italian Startup, where Niccolo and I dissect the weekly news happening in Italy. Welcome, Nick.
Ciao, Jack. How are you? Good morning.
Very good. Fantastic. Exploring the ecosystem in California. Everything is generative AI. I just hear things about generative AI and that's all. Yeah.
I think you need to worry when the taxi driver tells you about generative AI and the latest innovation. So
Indeed.
Did it happen to you?
Not yet. But there were some taxi driver pitching me ideas about crypto and Web3. So that's a signal.
Yeah. Well, this is weird. So we are in a down market for that. So they are off cycle. Probably market is moving so fast that even taxi drivers are one cycle behind. So that's interesting.
Yeah, even the Uber driver are off cycle. So they're there. Yeah, we'll see. Also,
it says something about how crazy we are. In
100%. All right, starting with the big news of the week. Fabrick, Open Finance Hub, raising 40 million euro in a corporate round led by Mastercard. So these are the of course, things that I enjoy seeing, all the collaboration between like a big corp and startup. Well, I don't know if Fabrick is a startup anymore. I think that's it's more corporation to corporation, but it's very significant. For a couple of reasons, I would say. So first of all, the pervasiveness of open finance, which are we've been seeing a few open finance application basically being financed in the past 12 months for sure. Things are moving and the banking is not sleeping. They're really like looking into this kind of application. So for the listener, just to give a brief idea, open finance just refers to essentially all the possible toolings that different kind of businesses can integrate in their own apps or platform to perform banking operation, being it payments, loans, or other kind of exotic actions. And things are changing really quick. And the idea is really to leave customer in the platform even during the payment process or the financial transaction, whatever it is. So it's powerful, it's there. Banks are very active in looking what's happening there. And Fabrick is being the one essentially helping business integrate those kind of application in their own systems. So very powerful angle, I would say. Company is doing really well. I believe last year they did about 50 million euros in revenue. They've been working with Mastercard since 2019, and now it's just basically Mastercard saying, let's get a minority stake, let's involve some other investors, and then let's take it from there. So very interesting for sure.
Yep. I totally agree with you. Going back to your point about Fabrick being a startup or not, I didn't put Fabrick into the chart about startup fundraising in Italy because basically Fabrick is owned by the Sella Group. Sella Group owns Banca Sella, so that's actually banking group, one of the most ancient banks, active banks in Italy, privately owned banks in Italy. And extremely active in the startup ecosystem. They, at a certain point, they invested in all VC funds. They also invested directly in startups, so they were very, very active. A great operator into the market. And one of those instances where we've been joking about it, right? All the companies and startups that are technology companies that want to become a bank. And Banca Sella is one of those banks that want to become a technology company. And I think that they've been doing that very well. Fabrick is a clear example of this trajectory. So Fabrick is a very strong banking technology provider, embedded finance provider. This round proves that they are getting to international levels in terms of quality, in terms of offering, in terms of opportunity. So just wanted to add this to your perfect analysis. Very happy to see this type of round happening. But still, I didn't consider it a startup. It's not entering into
Makes sense.
Fundraising chart.
Yeah. Another interesting element is that they're really pushing the operation outside the borders of Italy. So they've been active actually in the UK, Portugal, France, all across Europe. What is interesting is that looking into their product list, their services of embedding, basically they offer different services in different geographies. So some are pushed more in the continental Europe, some other they're like available in the UK, and it really depends also a lot in terms of privacy laws, which might change across countries, and they really adjust to that when it comes to actually like data handling. They're really sensitive to that, so they seem to adjust the product in those respects. So that's a very sharp angle, and definitely something that it's giving its fruits for sure. So that's a little nugget there. So that I thought it was particularly interesting.
Yeah, I believe that in terms of open banking, open finance, different European countries have different, maturity in adopting those type of technologies. I know indirectly that Italy is a bit behind, and UK is very far ahead, and so there are some differences in Europe.
Awesome. On top of that, also they're really pushing the boundaries, because one of the product that I was seeing is basically like it's a lending tool. So essentially, also they're like going way beyond like payments, but also like kind of exploring like spaces that are adjacent to the payment space, and definitely like effective in terms of the future of payment dynamics. So lending is definitely something that we've seen moving in different formats, and then now they want to be like players in the space. So I thought there was an extra addition. So they're really like doing like a 360. There is like they touch a lot of interesting points in open banking in general. So that's powerful.
Okay, that I wasn't aware of that. But is it lending in terms of technology in order to enable lending? Okay.
Yes, exactly. It's a tech play, exactly, where they want to enable like companies to do lending of some sort. Exactly. Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, you have some capital, and you set up some integration with their API, and you are basically a bank. So
yeah, no, looks like that for sure. Very, very cool. All right, moving forward, let's mention Datamasters, edtech startup raising 650,000 euros with different investors, including Zanichelli Ventures. And this is an interesting deal for two different reasons, I would say. So first of all, of course, the platform. They do essentially like online education, but extremely focused and vertical. So they're really verticalizing in STEM education, in particular machine learning and data analysis. So very, very powerful, like jobs of the future that we discuss like often. So that's probably something that we'll see happening and moving. And to be honest, it's already moving. Data scientists are already a real position. Maybe in the future, prompt engineers will be like the next sexy job. I know the guys in Datamasters, they're gonna activate one specific class in prompt engineering. So things are moving extremely quick, and that's interesting. The second interesting element I thought was that Zanichelli Ventures. So Zanichelli Ventures is basically the venture arm of Zanichelli, the very historical publisher of Italy. Basically, they've always tried to approach like an international strategy, and they started doing investment basically outside Italy. So I think most of their portfolio is pan-European, if not even US based. So there are a few of them. Okay. There you go. The entire portfolio.
This is the first Italian investor by Zanichelli Ventures. Let me say, at last. It was about time. So Enrico,
it was about time.
Listening to this, there you go.
Good job, Enrico. Shout out to Enrico. Fantastic.
Shout out to Enrico.
Yeah, very interesting strategy. I think they're like really placing, they're positioning in very interesting spaces. So I encourage people to check out their portfolio, because they are like really touching some of the next waves of education in edutech. So that's very powerful, I believe. And it's a great example, honestly, of a corporation that is like, leveraging technology in a very, very smart and adjusted way. So that's powerful. Yeah. Let's move forward with Bending Spoons. That's Bending Spoon has been in the press this year for a different reason. So the news that you mentioned in the newsletter, that's kind of a little bit different, I would say, than what has happened before in terms of both fundraise and other kind of acquisition that Bending Spoon has done. So essentially, Bending Spoon acquired Humamy, which essentially is, and correct me if I'm not right, it's a vegan delivery platform, right?
So it seems. Vegan and vegetarian, let's say so. Delivery, food delivery platform.
Yeah, the big question here is what is the logic here? Like, why now, and why these guys? What's the play that the guys are trying to build behind getting this kind of platform? So that's interesting. I mean, for sure, it's an interesting trend when it comes to veganism and vegetarianism, vertical delivery. We haven't seen many things of this sort. Generally, like, delivery logistics, it's very broad. Or actually, people try usually to broaden it in different areas of commerce. But specifically on vegan and vegetarian food, that's something very curious.
And also because Bending Spoons is basically a pure software play, or it has been a pure software play up to now. That I am aware, at least. And this is an interesting, stray from their core business. So it would be interesting to know more about this deal. But
interesting.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there will be some more articles or some more official declaration about the rationale about the deal. But still.
Yeah, no, let's keep an eye on that for sure. Going back to our friend AI, something that, we've been talking about like constantly, we live in a post ChatGPT world, so that's what it is. So we're bound to talk about AI. Italy finally is waking up after some friction that happened in the past, and now officially, basically, there's been declared like a very important declaration, actually, that the government is allocating about 150 million euro fund for AI startups. So that's powerful. That definitely adds another layer of depth to what Italy is doing when it comes to, as a digital strategy as a nation. So they definitely want to start financing early stage. So 150 million for AI. If we look into the grand scheme of things and what is happening abroad, it's like a drop in the bucket, I would say. So let's get excited because there is movement, but it's just the beginning, or should be just the beginning. Because if the real objective is to be like one of the leading operator in the space, that's not going to be enough for sure. But that's a good first move, I would say, and it's going to be powerful.
Yeah, I have to say that Italy last year in 2021 actually adopted a strategic plan for AI that involved a lot of actions related to education, supporting research, setting up research centers and stuff like that. And I think that almost everybody forgot about it. So I have no idea how far in the implementation of the plan we are in. So I wonder whether this fund is this fund proposing somehow also related to the strategic plan, or will somehow benefit from the implementation and the results of the strategic plan. Sometimes Italy and the Italian government, they tend to, let's say, start activities in the voids, one and the other. I even wonder whether CDP venture capital will be involved with managing the fund, or CDP equity, so the mother company, because from the article it's not clear. So I really wonder how this will fit the already existing strategy for innovation that Italy has in place.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I had the same feeling because they mention like a lot of things that goes way beyond trying to invest in startups in Italy. They talk about STEM education and how they're gonna basically that funds are gonna is gonna help bring STEM education to the classroom. Another thing that they were mentioning is how to attract university researcher in AI back to Italy, or actually to stay in Italy. So how exactly that plan is going to be implemented. And finally, they talk about government tech or GovTech, and how exactly AI should be applied to government infrastructure. So all of that with 150 million, that's very ambitious. And we need to keep an eye on this and see how exactly moves, how is managed, where exactly this funding is gonna go in a precise way. Yeah.
It will be, we need to keep an eye on it because this is actually important. So
yeah,
but still good that the government is noticing these type of innovations in the market and they're moving to put Italy on the map.
Yes.
So very good for that.
Awesome. So on a final note, for people that want to read more about artificial intelligence, Nicolò linked a very interesting resource, which is the A16z Cannon. So the Andreessen Horowitz periodically compile a series of links that actually can help understand better what is happening in AI, on especially the latest technologies, the latest application, the latest paper. So the latest Cannon is basically very, very worth reading. Is a lot. There is a lot of material. There are some interesting nuggets, some resources that people might know, but definitely that's another great resource to keep on track with everything that is happening. So thank you, Nick, for including that link. I think that's very valuable.
Well, it can keep you busy for a bit more than a weekend, I believe. So.
All right. Thank you, Nick, for joining, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jack. See you next week. Have a great day.